Okay, it's been a little bit since I have made a video, a long bit, and still playing Gwent and ranked up a little bit since last time. I think the last video I recorded, I was playing in the closed beta, and it's been quite a bit now. There's been a lot of changes to the game. It is now an open beta. A number of hotfixes and patch rebalancing has happened, but I'm still playing a very similar deck to what I was last time. I thought I would sort of give an update on what I've been playing lately. So before I was playing Morven, who used to be the Nilfgaard leader who pulled Spies, like Spy archetype, and had the hero power that you can look at top 3 cards and pick one. That has since changed to John Calveit. So I'm playing him now instead, but still playing Nilfgaard. And the deck I'm playing is very different than what it was before. There's a number of new cards. So what I'm basically playing right now is a Siri Dash sort of very thin-based Nilfgaard deck that's relying on early tempo with the spying boosts with the Imperial Brigades. Thinning, as I mentioned, with both Alba Pikemen and the Imperial Golems. These are pulled out when you use your hero power, and these ones basically tick and then thin your deck every 2 turns until you have all 3 out. So a number of new cards, still running Cantarella, still running Joachim de Vet. I'm now using, for golds, Letho of Gullet, Siri Dash, and Tibor Egbrecht, and Willem Truitenberg, who is also known as Bork, I believe. Not sure on that one. But the basic goal, there's an update. The basic goal of the deck is you thin as much as possible. You try to win round 1. Actually, you pretty much have to win round 1 using the synergies of Spies with Imperial Brigades and especially Emissaries. Pretty much these 2, you really just want to, and you tempo out with your thinning cards as well. But you basically want to win round 1 by like dumping as much of your deck down as you can. Round 2, it depends how many cards you have left, but typically you don't want to go, and you basically want to bleed them until round 3, but you don't want to go into round 3 with anything less than like 3 cards. The reason for that is by round 3, because you've thinned so much, you should have pretty much all your golds and maybe silvers or something, or you're missing 1 gold, but basically you've whittled all your bronze units down. And what you do is you, on the turn where you or your opponent will only have 3 turns left, you play Willem Truitenberg. And from then on, you just play golds. Because so many of the finishers that are being used are like silvers, like Witchers or Grave Hag. I'm trying to think of some others, Queen's Guard, things like that. And you basically just want to have your side all golds and wait until turn 3 when you can scorch them. Because you're just playing golds and you're not impenetrable usually to them getting damaged or anything, you can afford to give them a card to bronze usually with Tibor. Because you're thinning so much, Siri Dash is usually really good value, and she ends up in your hand a lot because you're thinning so much. And if you do have to play on round 3 any bronzes or silvers before you play the Willem Truitenberg, you can make them gold and absorb their strength, plus adding the base 7 with Letho of Gullet. This card is useful in that regard. It's also really useful for things like Queen's Guard, consuming Foglets. Trying to think what else. A lot of discard archetypes that get buffed. Dwarves. So super useful against dwarves that are constantly getting the carryover across. And you can consume them, and then if you have the Dim Radiant Bomb, however much he's consumed, and it's 2 on each side, you can basically just set that down to 1. You can just delete those points. It's a 2-card combo. It's difficult to pull off for that reason. I think the way most people have been playing Letho has been with the assumption of trying to get this combo off, but I use it really more as a backup strategy when it looks like I'm not going to win unless I take out their win condition. So I think he's actually extremely versatile. I think he's underutilized in especially this type of deck, which is really popular right now with Villain Treadmouth and Zeri Dash. And yeah, he's just generally a really good gold. This silver slot, I've messed around with it a little bit. Sorry, the burp. Because sometimes I feel like I'm not always getting value out of the Dim Radiant Bomb when I don't need to consume the other end. The other thing the Dim Radiant Bomb can do is in the round 3, if they are also playing golds and you want to make sure you scorch them, is right before Villain Turtmirth is about to go off and scorch, you can Dim Radiant Bomb their highest gold unit, or just any of their gold units. It's 3 adjacent units, and it'll demote them so that they're vulnerable to the scorch. It's really good for things like just vanilla Geralt or Karen. I've seen Karens getting played last turn, and you just demote them, and then they only have 1 turn to react. They usually don't. There's not a good way to react to that. There's no real counter in the game for it. So Villain Treadmouth will just burn it. You basically, like, the goal I have when I play this deck, it's called Spies. It was like a play on Spies. I don't know why I called it that name, but you know, it's not really a spy deck anymore. It's transform a lot. We're only relying on Spies in the first round. But yeah, the way you want to do it is you just want to end up having played everything in your hand, or in your deck, excuse me. The other sort of utility cards that I have that are like one-offs, Nilfgaard Medic can be very useful for, oh man, there's so many applications to this card. I mean, it really hurts some archetypes, like especially like Queen's card, obviously. Anything that's going to rely on reses, anything that gets buffed. Usually what happens is, you know, they'll buff base strength like crazy on some card in round 1 to try to compete and push and win. And then this is a great turn 2 play where you just resurrect it and they feel stupid. The Nausicaa Standard Bearer is for just weather. There's just a ton of weather, like a lot of the ladder is Dagon. And both having this to clear weather on a row, as well as the Clear Skies from Vanheimar, is super useful. And the other sort of last utility card I run is Combat Engineer. I've messed with some different cards here, but I'm actually really enjoying Combat Engineer. The reason is a huge part of your round 2 is bleeding, and if you can manage to get some resiliency on one of these buffed Imperial Brigades, or really anything, like even something, you know, I've buffed things like really like lame things, like I've buffed, you know, Vikavara Medics with Joachim, and you know, it makes it 10 or 11, right? You know, you can just throw resilience on that, and it really disrupts like so many things in this game plan are just about disrupting your opponents, what they want to be doing, you know, their proactive win strategy. So that's the base right now. It's working pretty well for me. It carried me to whatever MMR I am right now. 24, 22. What have I said? I am using a deck tracker now, especially with a thinning deck. It helps there a lot. So I'll try to play a game and see how it goes. I've started now like butting up against the wall of you know, how good I actually am, and I've been losing a lot of games. So it's a good test for the deck.
Of course, friend.
So I did mention the discard Skeleton.
Onward, sons of
Something that this plays
Nilfgaard!
really well against. Okay, so I'm about 2,500 MR right now. So he's running 3 extra cards, so he's probably going to be doing a lot of things as well. In terms of the initial mulligan, it's very important. It's very important that you blacklist Golem, and then you don't want this second pikeman because you want to draw it for free. We want to keep our emissaries because they're going to draw our other bronzes, so we just want to move out bronzes until, you know, we're fishing for our silvers and golds like that. So now we just have a higher proportion of a lot of silvers, a lot of golds, and our only bronzes are these. So I'm going to stop mulliganing because I would have the chance of pulling the Alba Pike, which I don't want to do. It's just more inefficient. But this is decent. I have 3 of my golds, quite a few silvers, so just a ton of utility.
Sit at my table and let's drink.
So we'll find out what kind of discard Skellige this is. There's a couple variations running around right now. One of them is a version with Saris. That I think is a really cool.
Freest be the bravest.
Okay, this is pretty standard. So our first play is
Yes.
the Alpha Pikeman, and we're basically just gonna bide our time, probably throw out Siri Dash until this counts down, and then we'll use our hero power. It just lowers the chances of us potentially getting a bad pull and getting a pull that is populated from Calve's leader ability with the other Alpha Pikeman. You also, if you have Siri Dash, you want to get her out as soon as possible, and this is just a really good opportunity when you're just kind of waiting to do that. We want to play this round as long as possible, because we want to thin our deck as much as possible. So much of this deck is about getting down to round 3. Interesting. Getting down to round 3 with just gold cards. It's very difficult to beat if you can do that correctly. But there's a lot of, you know, problems that can happen in getting there. Okay, so that's still alive. I can consider... I was going to say I could buff it to make sure that he doesn't kill this. It's very likely he's going to kill it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to get Siri Dash out.
Yield and save me some time.
Okay. So, some clean cards.
Yes.
So that's something. Can let though, but I don't want to do that right now. I'd rather just keep thinning. Again, that's our main priority. It's like we want to win this round, but it's
Sons of Nilfgaard!
much more important for our actual win condition that we thin. Is there anything here that I would want to? No. There's nothing here that I want to combat engineer. Sometimes there is. So we're just going to do an unnecessary. We're going to thin more.
A shame I have no time.
Okay. That's fine.
Erigor.
So the reason I liked lining up a lot of these units on the same row is to feign that I have Geralt Igni. They'll start playing around a little bit. So I might want to lock this, or I can consume it. But I don't really want to do that until I have Timeridium Bomb. We'll see how long the match goes. Right now I'm just gonna keep thinning. I'm gonna play on the sides in case I do want to absorb.
I'm falling behind.
So this is just more pressure.
I warned you.
This is why I like running Combat Engineer. It's a lot of pressure on the opponent. Now that this has resiliency, so instead of playing more to his game plan, he's now thinking about how he can disrupt this resiliency. You're basically just distracting him. It's really good as a one-off, just for this kind of like tempo.
Don't you pester me.
Okay. So unfortunately,
Yes.
it's Natsu. I will probably want to play this at some point. We're just gonna thin more.
Please wait, Your Excellency. I'm falling behind.
I wish I knew what that other card was. It's fine.
Erigor.
So you can Scorch here. If he decides to Scorch or anything like that, I just have a bigger question about whether I... Okay. Well, now I'm gonna let though. He's just put like a ton of resources. Even if I lose this round, it just feels bad for him. I think. Is there anything else I want to do? If I do Joachim, just looking at what I could pull. Okay, well, I don't want to deal with it.
And I'll behave, I promise.
We'll find out if this was a good play or not shortly. What's nice is Letho is he is a spy. When you play him on the board and you do that, consume them. And so anything that you have down, Imperial Brigade also comes up. So now he just says no more Queen's Guard and he has no more Morkvard. They're banished and you can't deal with it. So the idea is that we've now disrupted his game plan to some extent. We've thinned down to 6 cards. It's pretty good for round 1. We did have to play 1 gold, or Letho, which leaves us still in our deck with Tibor.
Won't pay us in gold,
Okay.
pay us in blood.
I think he would have scorched by now, so I'm gonna go ahead and just bully out
Eddie
my
Clark.
Imperial Brigade. It's getting a little low in cards for round 1.
to taste Skelliger Steel?
That's interesting. I guess I lock this. Lock it and then maybe other Queen's Guard. I actually don't know if this works, but
Sometimes I've had about enough.
at this point, why not? I don't really want to play more cards, but I also don't want to lose the round. I think he would have scorched by now if he was going to scorch my Imperial Brigades. Usually you don't want to do this where you line up all your Imperial Brigades.
I will not let this become a second Sodom.
It's kind of a weird game. Okay, well these are all going to get buffed by Ilkin, so let's just do it.
Barbarians. The Nordlings' hatred for us will never wane.
I'll be shocked if he still plays this out. Luckily for us, we have a more likely chance of drawing Siri Dash on round 2 now. I might actually just try to bully out round 2. We'll see how it goes. We do have a pretty sizable lead. It depends how many spies we get, because we still have that resilient Imperial Brigade. That's pretty good. Is there anything I would want more than here? I probably want my other card, so I'm probably gonna ditch Van Hamar and see if I can get Cantarella. Yeah, that's cool. So I'll play Cantarella because he still has to play a card, and I'll be like way up in card advantage.
No one can hide from me.
Honestly, I think it's as good as I'm gonna get. We'll probably play Siri Dash and then pass.
We serve her who is virgin, mother, and crone.
Pansy.
Yield and save me some time.
I just want to make sure I get this extra 3 strength when I very likely pull it in the next round. I don't know. We'll see how it
What
goes.
do you need?
You can do whatever he wants here. It doesn't bother me. He might use the Yolkin. He could thin himself with the Emissary. It's probably actually the better play. Because I don't think... Yeah, he hasn't thinned very much at all.
Please wait, Your Excellency. I'm falling
Which is
behind.
not usually the case with Discard Scalar. They usually want to thin pretty heavily.
We serve her who is virgin, mother, and crone.
Everything here, you can tell, just doesn't look super great for him, so... He's in a tough spot. I feel pretty good about the game, but we'll see. We'll see what his round 3 looks like.
Told you it'd be worth it.
Okay, so he actually has to play another card. I feel very good about this game. Hopefully this is exemplifying how the deck works. We just thin as much as possible. The next round we'll just play Volentretma with Tibor, and yeah. You then try to win. If he plays a gold, we'll just debomb it and just wait for it to count. We're gonna mulligan the standard bear. Try to see if we can get Siri Dash. Okay.
Modron Freyr is patient, but she brooks no insult.
Man, that's really rough. So that's why we use the Letho early on
Pansy.
to consume. Just because you can see now he's like, we've just robbed his game plan. And, you know, you consume their gameplay. I mean, literally. Yeah. So that's kind of the deck works. I think discard Skellige is especially a good matchup, but yeah, it's been working out pretty well for me, and that's what I've been playing lately in Gwent. So thanks for watching.